This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
All right. You might remember a man named Nathan Hughes was arrested by the FBI for being at the Capitol on January 6th. The FBI contacted Liberty Safe and asked for the code to get into Nathan Hughes' safe to access his firearms. And they allowed that access. We have the video of that.
Sir, please step
Don't
back.
get anywhere close to me.
Please step back.
But I'm not doing anything wrong.
I know you're not
Get
doing anything
away
wrong,
from me.
but please-
Don't get your hands
Please
off
step
me.
back.
Get your hands off me. Get your hands off me.
Sir, stop right there.
It doesn't matter.
No, you don't
I'm
need
not
to walk
doing anything
into-
wrong. Get your
You
hands off
don't
me.
need to walk
Get
into
your
where
hands.
somebody right now. Do you
It doesn't
understand
matter. Get your hands off me. Don't touch me.
Yo, come on, man.
We're
Step
good.
back here with me, man.
Wow. Okay, so you get the idea. So they contacted Liberty Safe. Liberty Safe gave them the access to the safe. Incredible. They caved. And Jeremy Knauff, founder of the public relations firm Spartan Media, wrote an article in the fallout of that mess from a week ago. Jeremy, welcome to The Blaze. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Pat.
So this became kind of a Bud Light type fiasco, but Liberty Safe responded, whereas Bud Light stayed quiet for a while. Two different PR strategies, but Liberty Safe's strategy didn't seem to work very well either, did it?
No, it definitely didn't. I'll give them points in that they responded right away.
Yeah.
But the problem they had was the response was just as weak, right?
Yeah.
They came out and they said, well, yeah, we did it. That's our policy. But going forward, we're going to go ahead and change that policy and we're not going to do it anymore. But the bigger problem is they kind of dug themselves into a grave because it's not just the fact that they did it, which is obviously a huge problem. But the bigger problem is, why did they have this in the first place? Why did nobody know about it? Why was there no way to rectify this? I mean, when this first came out, countless people reached out to them and they were like, hey, I had a problem with my combination. I reached out to your customer support and you guys said there was nothing we could do. You have to contact a locksmith. So the story doesn't add up. And that's the problem is when you have a PR crisis, if you don't come out and not only address the problem, but also be completely honest and transparent about everything, you're going to cause even more reputational damage.
Yeah, which is exactly what happened. Why does Liberty Safe keep a database of master passwords for every customer safe in the first place?
That's a great question, Pat, and I don't think there's a logical answer for it. I mean, the only answer for that would be something nefarious, whether it be giving it over to government or whatever.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's no logical reason a safe can't be safe if multiple people have access to it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I have a Liberty Safe, and that kind of bothers me because I did forget my password at one point. I did call Liberty Safe, and they did tell me, yeah, we don't have access to your safe, so you're going to have to call a locksmith. So I went through that whole process. And then it turns out that they actually do have a database of passwords. And then they don't do what you would want them to do in the eventuality that you forgot your combination. Right?
Absolutely.
So what good is it? It's and then what about hackers? I mean, doesn't that open things up to somebody nefarious finding out the combination to your safe?
It absolutely does, Pat. And the way this all plays out, and they did announce, like they said, look, we're going to come in here, we're going to delete these passwords, we're going to get rid of all this. The problem is, and any entrepreneur kind of understands this to some degree, with the cloud computing, whether it's Google Cloud, Dropbox, Microsoft stuff, whatever, there's copies of this all over the place. Other employees have probably downloaded copies of it. It's stored in multiple places. It's backed up in multiple places. So there's more copies of this out there than anybody realizes. And, okay, so you delete this from the company servers. What about all the backups? What about all the copies the employees had? What about all the copies that are on all the cloud servers? There's no way to get this out now that it's out there, right? The genie is out of the bottle, and there's just not a way to fix this problem at this point for them.
There's two options for Liberty Safe that you write about in your article going forward, and that's basically to change their name or sell the company.
Yes.
Is either of those viable? Do you think either of those are being considered?
Well, so they're viable in the sense that they could work, right? Like the company could come in, they could take all of their assets, sell them off to some other safe company, and that's a path forward, but it's also the end of the company.
Yeah.
The other option is to rebrand and start over fresh as a new company. I don't see that working very well. That's of those two, that's the lesser of the two in terms of effectiveness. But rebranding is incredibly expensive. It's not going to work. A lot of times, I mean, we've seen rebrands of major companies with huge budgets, and they flop.
Yeah.
So these are two options, but I don't think either of them are two good options. So there's really not anything that's effective. I mean, the bottom line is this is the type of company that is built entirely on its reputation, right? A safe is there to provide security, and if it's not doing that, the reputational damage is beyond what can be recovered from, in my professional opinion.
We've got about 30, 45 seconds left here. Going forward, what's your recommendation for companies like Bud Light, like Liberty Safe in the future? Because you don't want to have to sell your company. You don't want to have to rebrand. I mean, why is it that these companies are jumping into these situations like this?
Well, the reason that this is happening comes down to some interviews that you guys did on your show and on Glenn's show. And this all ties in with what our friend Carol Ross talks about in her book. I'm drawing a blank on it right now. You'll Own Nothing. Right?
Yes, right.
A lot of this is being driven by ESG, which is being driven by Vanguard and BlackRock and hedge funds and private equity firms like that. So that's where this is coming from. And they're willing to risk the profit to push these policies.
Appreciate it, Jeremy. Thank you. Jeremy Knauff.
Pat Gray.
Spartan Media.
Unleashed.